Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The title of today's program is I Believe in You. And I'll build up to where I'm going very soon. If anybody's been watching the news the last few days, we see that last night they came out, or Bob Woodard's new book on, I guess he called it Rage. And Donald Trump was saying on February the, let's see, what date was it? February the 7th, that this is a deadly virus. This is more deadly than, if this is 5%, the other flu is 1% type thing. This is big. And he says it transfers by air. You know, it's aerial. You know, in other words, you put on a mask, you're going to protect yourself. Then this is Bob Woodard. This is the guy of Nixon fame. You know, what did the president know, and when did he know it? You know, that was the famous questions. This is the Watergate era, Bob Woodard. So, if you look at this tape now, first of all, let's go back to what we've been talking about. We say that this election is pre-planned. We say there's several goals. One goal is to get people to vote, vote, vote. The next thing is there should be a destruction or disunity spread in America. And we feel that the Israelis is the ones that's behind this, because the Israelis technically is the only one that has that power. They say they try to keep you focused on the Russians. It's not the Russians. The Russians, who controls the media in America? Is it the Russians or is it the Zionists? You can talk about Russia all you want here in America, okay? Talk about the Zionists. If you're so bad, talk about the Zionists. Anybody in Congress, the president, the newspaper, if they had the courage, or any university professor, let them come up with any idea related to the Zionists and see what happened to them. So therefore, you might ask, well, why would the Zionists want America to be disunified? Well, the same way. America is the only one that protects the Zionist state in the UN. Not the only one, but it backs it on all occasions. Or it abstains from a vote in the Security Council. I remember the invasion of Lebanon, 1982. 120 people or countries voted against the invasion, and the U.S. either voted it down or they abstained. So why would they want the U.S. to stay weak? If the Zionists are in place and America is weak, it's easier to control them. Something happened during the Obama administration. When we did an interview here, they asked me, what did I think about Obama? That was around 2007. I said, he's a white man's nigga. So he's a white man's nigga. And then how can somebody raise $650 million? That's what Of course, it came up to $1 billion later on. I said, if I was got that money, I'd just run off somewhere and let them keep the presidency, because you ain't gonna get no $1 billion there, right? So anyway, what did Obama do wrong? What was the mistake that the U.S. presidency allowed? It allowed the Democratic Party to put a check and to destabilize the Zionist plan in America. That's why the JPOCA, the only ones against it was Saudi Arabia and the Israelis. Those are the main anti-Iranian states in the world today. Saudi Arabia, religion. How is it that they're fighting against Zionists? I mean, fighting against all of these Islamic fundamentalism all over the world, is what they say. And the ones that spreading that ideology, that Wahhabi, Salafi ideology, is Saudi Arabia. 19 of the hijackers was from Saudi Arabia. Every time something, Khashoggi was killed by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is at war with Yemen. But the thing that Saudi Arabia is a good stooge. A very good stooge for the United States. But Obama made a mistake. Obama, he thought that the idea, the way to curb the nuclear program in Iran, which by 2003 something, the CIA came back and they said Iran put a freeze on its nuclear program. So the JCPOA, whatever it was Iran making a treaty based on something that the Rahbar had said is haram to make an atomic bomb anyway. He said, because we can't use it because it'll kill people. Right? It's too indiscriminate. We can't do that. Now, that don't mean that the Israelis, which have between 200 and 400 nuclear warheads, why is nobody saying anything about that? And that's what we're going to be working toward today. Therefore, you could understand that we said just the other day, it must be somebody listening to us, then they come out with it. On everything.
When you brought up that new guy that came out with something else Donald Trump said about coronavirus, they were just talking about this Tuesday, and Sunday,
What it is this. No. But remember, he did these in February and March. So what does that mean? That means it's pre-planned. They already had it planned. You know this drip, 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 drip? Yeah. It's just like what we said. It proves it 1,000% that Trump is not to be reelected. But they're going to keep so much stuff going on that it's forced the people to the polls. And in the process, they weaken the United States. The voting gives the U.S. strength, but look at the United States of America. Donald Trump has been 30% successful. That's why we said a while back, we said this boy is 30% successful. That's what we said. On the whole program, the whole Zionist program, they were not successful. They did not get the military involved. But all of these things, the disunity is planned. The demonstrations are planned. We could see everything we was involved in was planned down there. It was planned, okay? That means they planned the assassinations of these brothers. They planned their killing, and they have their response already packaged and ready to go. And that package will include disunity. One team gonna be pushing this way, the other team gonna be pushing back, and they have it where the teams are not equal, not balanced, but is structured so that nobody's gonna just dominate. So they scare them people so much that they have to vote. Each one is going to vote. Trump's people is going to vote, and the Democrats are going to vote. One thing about them, neither one has a real plan, 21st century plan, about what's going on in the world. We'll get to that in a minute. But this pre-planned, prearranged hold that the Zionists have on Trump on purpose. He's acting, he's playing a part. He knows what he's doing. That's why anything he's supposed to do, he's batting 1,000. The way I'm batting 1,000 on predicting them, he's batting 1,000 on if he's supposed to do such and such with masks. He sent all the masks to China. Yeah, all he's talking about, oh yeah, well, you remember when they tell their little lies. Yeah, back in March, they asked him, well, what did you and the Chinese premier talk about? He said, we talked about coronavirus. That was back in February. Yeah, we talked about that. That means he keep calling it the Hong Kong virus, whatever they call it, Kung Fu. China told him, he said, that's what he said on this. Okay, he said on this yesterday that that's what him and the Chinese premier was talking about. Then a news commentator said, oh, he sent all the masks that should have stayed here to protect us, he sent them to China. Okay. And then he blamed China. Okay. Remember, Donald Trump is an actor. That's why he was hired to do this job, because he will act it out. They said, okay, here's a script. You're going to be president. Don't worry about how we're going to do it. You're going to be the president. Okay, what's my job? Well, you're going to get a payday. But remember, Donald Trump years ago was a Democrat. He was hanging out with Hillary Clinton and all of them.
Yeah, for real. You know, I don't know.
He joins the Republican Party to destroy the Republican Party. He's done made it so everybody got to be with him.
Yeah.
And he didn't run everybody off. If you're not with me, you got to go. So anybody with any ethics, anybody with any morals or moral compass cannot stay with him. Why? Because that's his job. It's his job to play Bozo the Clown or to be a fool. No, it's his job. You look at it. Drip, 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 drip.
Right, yeah, it showed us,
Since the day he became president, they would have one scandal a week, and then now it's always drip, drip, drip. It's enough to keep him in the news, but it ain't enough to get him out of the presidency. All the time. The only time he got stuck was with that Negro woman, Amoroso, whatever her name was. You ain't seen hide and hair of her. Because she's a Negro woman. He can't do nothing with her. She'd have been talking under his clothes and having him look like a fool. You know what I mean? You could tell by the way she looked and the way, no, this da 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 da. So he had to leave her alone because he would have to disclose what the script is in order to keep her quiet. You see what I mean? So he just pay her off. So you just, you know. All right. This is a pre-planned, pre-arranged. Trump, the actor. What's his act? Act number one, integrate the Republican Party. Act number two, become president. Act number three, divide, conquer, and rule on behalf of the Israelis, the American system. And they'll drip, drip, drip. And this is not the end of it. Okay. Right now, the West Coast is burning. The sky is clouded. It's an orange sky. They said that pre-industrial is 2 degrees above what the pre-industrial rate, was in the world. And the cutoff was 2.7 degrees. And they're saying they're going to reach that within 10 years. Okay. Therefore, America is burning. The imbalance is so, okay, they had, as I said, torch-like winds. 7 out of the last 10 years, 5 of these years was this trauma that we're having in California right now. In other words, 100-year fires and all that. That should happen every 100 years. They'd have had them 5 out of the last 7 years or 7 out of the last 10 years. Okay. So there needs to be mizan, balance, an earth project to clean up the oceans, to clean up the whole world, to bring it back in balance. In order to do that, what we're going to work toward is an emergency Negro rescue team. Who's that team? That team is everybody that we talk about. We don't have time to have other people get to know. We're going to do it with that. When it says, I believe in you, I'm talking to all the Negroes that's been joined together in a unit to break our spirit, to break our back, to slow us down. You have not been successful. We don't have time to get other people to know us like the way y'all know us. Y'all know that nigga, we done tried everything, he ain't going nowhere. Period. I know you. We know you. We know you, whether you're Zaid, whether you're Hamza Youssef, or we call him the Great White Sheikh for now. Whether you're Siraj up in Brooklyn, or man, everything that you, man, it was 1983 when the ISNA came and got Siraj and gave him took me off the stage, and they put him on stage. If you want to ask somebody that'll tell you the truth about it, maybe it's Fareed Newman. He was the guy that kept all the information for AMC, American American Muslim Mission. Not American Muslim Mission. AMC, American Muslim Council, something at Alamudi downtown, one of them big offices. Fareed worked for him. At that time, it would be controlled by the foreigners, but they would hire Negroes to do all the footwork, and they did it. And now they don't need them, poor guys. But this drip, drip, drip is something that's done on purpose. There's hundreds of millions of dollars that they want to spend, they're gonna spend on this upcoming demonstration. This upcoming election, and nobody has a plan. The weather in California last week was 130 degrees. Then this last week, I heard in LA County, the news reported it was 121 degrees in Los Angeles County. It's like out in San Bernardino and all that. But it was 111 inside the city of LA. Okay. But what does anybody, do the Democrats have a plan to deal with that? No. They're not even talking about it.
All they're doing, they're just talking about, if anything, I think I listened to an interview by Joe Biden, and all he was talking about was just jobs.
Jobs.
Getting people back to work. That's all they're concerned about.
Okay, but see, a lot of reason we call this the Al-Mizan Rescue Mission for the Earth, or the Negro Rescue Team. Why do we say, I believe in you? I'm talking to all the Negroes. I'm talking to the people that have did their best to try to shut us down. I'm talking to the people that pulled raids on our masjid, that did their best, try to help boss man stay in power. But our calculation is like this. I'll put it this way, personally. In 1963, I was at a place called PSI, Preston School of Industry. I was 18. And so the officials told me, because by that time I was good size. There was another guy in F Company. He was what they call a drag boy. His name was Posey. At that time, transistor radios had just came out. So he could walk. We all marched in ranks to go to eat and do stuff like that, because it was like being in a military. It was this company, F Company, G Company, all those, And so they served breakfast, so it's time for F Company to go. They would march to the dining room. Everything was military-like, lined up. So, but Posey could walk out of ranks and he listened to his radio. Everybody's in ranks, but he what they call a drag boy. He had juice. So I had some encounter with the system that was not my fault. And the captain, the head group supervisor, he said, Reams, you're a nice guy. You're nice looking, handsome and everything. He said, you could have the run of the place. So you could be like Posey. And I just said, I don't want to be like Posey. Now, this is the first time when it's an open offer for me to be a stooge for the system. Now, you got to imagine how many offers we get. A guy strolled in here day before yesterday. Oh, I was just in the neighborhood, just getting a little gas up, and what's happening with Imam Jamil and all of that. You know, all that stuff. So, it's a nice guy. The guy called me on the phone from the prison and said, just listen, da, 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 da. Long story short, when people get out of prison, we want to help them, but we see that these people are already locked in and tied in with the other peoples that don't like us. And that's their job. And that's the job they do now. You know, they work for them. They go and distribute this, pick up that, do that. That's what they do. Okay, I could have that type of job in my sleep. I'm not going to do that. Now, you may not know, but our open offer for everybody. We do security. We'll take the plastic bags. We'll do all of that for free. We'll clean toilets for free, but you can't pay us. You know what I mean? That's not our job. You can't be the chief sitting at the desk and you're going to pay me to work for you. Look, thank God, this is not something that I developed. It was already in me. It was already there. Now you have to improve it. You know, as you get older, you get more sophisticated. But I was 17, 18. I was 18, I guess, if it was 63. You could be like Posey. I mean, walk out of ranks, have my own clothes on, have a portable radio, and I have juice, and everybody's looking when everybody else line up. Why? Because if you have the big kid and you keep him in line for you, they don't have to do their job. You do it for them. Yeah. So that's what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to be like Posey. He was a big black Negro, just like I was. You know. And everybody respected us. I said, no, I don't want to be like Posey. And that's, as we get closer to here, this thing becomes, man, that was almost 60 years ago. That was a long time ago. It's 1963. I was 18. Good God Almighty. Also, I was raised in the system, state raised, like I'd come home every now and then and go right back. But that was when I was a kid. So I grew up in the state institutions with boys, you know, and we just grew up together. That's why it's funny. When I first got married, it was a nice marriage. And we lived together, and this first time I'm really living. I mean, you know, before you might have a girlfriend for a hot minute and then you go back to jail. But we were living together. We got married. So I had retired from what I was doing. I had 2-3 Cadillacs. And I had $25,000, around that, you know, somewhere around. And so I would make on the side maybe $50 a day. That's a lot of money then. No more than 100. That's just what I did just to keep things rolling. So our young son, which is the oldest son, he said, "If the people come sometime and you're not here, I said, "That's right." So at that exact time, I was getting ready to open up again anyway. So I got me a big, a dope house way out in where we come from. So she was saying, "Oh, but you're not here." And I actually hit her. Because I thought I didn't know that's the way girls did. I had no idea that, wait, I can't be in two. If you said, I thought she was, because remember, I done spent most of my life with boys. And men, we grow up, we understand each other. And you can't say stuff if you don't mean it. You can't, you know what I mean? Men to men. Yeah. You can't say, "I'll bust you upside the head." Well, you say, "Hold it, you got to get ready to do that," right? But you're not here. Because when we got married for the first few months, we there riding together, and then now I'm going back to work. I'm coming out of retirement. Well, I ain't but 22. What do you think I'm going to just, So anyway, I swear, I thought that she was just messing with me, just because it didn't make sense, and I didn't remember what my father told me till later. Then I said, "Oh yeah, my father told me that that's the way." So anyway, that was true. That really, I said, this girl messing with me, trying to be funny. You know what I mean? How am I gonna be not here and over there and not? I said, "You can't do that. You gotta be. If I can't do what I'm gonna do at the house, which I'm not, then I have to do it away from home. If I do it away from home, especially in the early time, I'm going to be gone till I get some other crew working with me. Anyway, boy, that was it. Then I thought about it. I said, she wasn't messing with me. That's the way, it don't make sense to me. But anyway, this program that was developed by the Zionists to destroy or disorganize, disunify America has been working 100%. And they did it because Obama did not cooperate with them. The Israelis wanted one thing to happen, and Obama was the president. This is probably 1% or 2% what he wanted to do on his own, and he did it. And the Zionists was furious. So they said, we can't take a chance anymore. We have to break America down because we have to keep America in our back pocket. In order for them to do that, we have to weaken them. So they're not stronger than us. We're stronger than them. And that's what we have. That's why you have all the fitna that you see going around. It's designed fitna. They've designed their own fitna. And they design the drip, 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 drip a little bit at a time to guarantee that he don't get elected. But also to develop a natural disunity, right? The people who love Donald Trump, his cult, right? And the people who don't like him. Okay, he even has a romantic relationship with Kim Jong-un.
Right, yeah.
They call it a bromance or something.
Yeah, that's the term. Yep, bromance. Yep.
And they said, what? Well, I just want to keep peace. Okay, he does the stuff that will guarantee that the people who are thinking, he's pretending that he loves dictators and he loves Putin. He's not messing with Putin because that's what he's told. Let's keep him thinking that Putin is the one doing all this, right? Putin ain't doing this. The Zionists. The Zionists ain't gonna let Putin do nothing. Okay. So we talked about California, the smoke, the sun. We always talk about cleaning up the air, the water, sending out big vessels on the ocean with big barges to clean up, the oceans. We have three. The coastal, cleaning up all the coastal area, making sure that any water that gets to the ocean, it will be filtered, clean. Won't be no more this soda pop bottles and all this crap. We'll clean up all the sides of the rivers, we'll shake up the bottoms of the rivers. Just have shakers that shake it up. And same thing on the ocean. They'll shake up those little hair-like particles and we'll clean it. And we'll study what we're doing, that we don't want to overly disturb too much, and we want to do it in the right way. So we'll start off working right away, but we'll study what we're doing so that as we move along, we want al-mizan is like balance, mizan, wazn. Allah created the earth or the universe and wazan in balance, right? Perfect balance. It also means justice, it means balance. And so our earth renewal or revival project is to get the earth back, say in the next 20 years, very close to the way that Allah gave it to us. That's what we want to do. Now in the meantime, we got our Negroes. Our Negroes have been bought and sold by everybody. Okay. And those same people has been bought and sold by everybody. Every group that they started, Manna and all that, all of it, we have been the target. Can you imagine? Okay, now this is something everybody knows. The immigrants know it, they know it. But here we are. Here we are, not anywhere. We didn't even domesticated the system. This has never happened. And remember, when we talk about Star Trek them, that means go beyond wherever anybody has ever gone before. This policy that we're inaugurating right now, no one has ever done it. The Prophet ﷺ, when he came back to Mecca, they said, what will you do with us? He said, I had to say the same thing to you that Yusuf said to his brothers, La tatraba. Okay, that's our example. That's one of the only periods in history where, let's call it, love wins over, hands down. Where he didn't have to dominate the tribe. he incorporated the tribe into what they was doing. Okay, that's our goal right now with our Negro fellows. That's our goal. That's our goal with Abdul Malik. It don't make no difference what they did. We feel that they all made rational decisions based on how they felt about themselves and how they felt about their environment. You got to remember, when these people grew up, they grew up at the end of the defeat of black people. What they did, that little temporary Martin Luther King, Malcolm X stuff, that was all temporary. And now they letting you know it's super temporary. Everything that they marched for and voted for, they had taken it back a long time ago, but now they in your face taking it back. They're preventing you from voting, right in front of you.
Right. Was it down there? Was it Georgia or was that Florida?
Georgia might have been where they suppressed the vote.
Right, yeah, they took off like 200 names off the voter list just cause.
It was a lot more than that. They and a lot of times they don't have, you don't have to count jelly beans no more, jar of jelly beans.
Right, yeah, I remember.
But it's just, it might as well. You can't vote. That's what it's going to happen is you can't vote. Okay, but really, we should have learned about the vote. If black people don't know that we have black people voting all over the country, we have black mayors, we have black sheriffs, we have black senators, we have black congresspeople, we got all of that. We're in the system. When they talk about change the system from the inside, the Negroes now are the gatekeepers. You take cities like D.C., most of the people working in the government are Negroes. They get an education, they get their stuff, because white people go out in the industry and they go into other business. But Negroes, 90%, maybe even more, they get a government job. Whatever degree they get, bachelor's, master's, they sign up with them forms they have, and they become members of the government. Okay. Our people have lost their historical perspective. Oh, black people are killing each other in Chicago. Yep. And you never hear any of them say, but they're killing each other because of drugs that you put in our community. So you got to remember, I was in South America, and the only thing I never saw, I saw everything else. But Negroes, I didn't see no Negroes down there. I didn't even see no Negroes in Mexico. So we didn't bring these drugs here. Somebody brought them here for us. Okay. So we're reaching out to the Emergency Negro Rescue Team. It's part of the Earth Rescue Mission to rescue the Earth, rescue the human family, rescue animals. That's what it is, a rescue mission. You got to remember, our lives, our wives, our children's lives and future, we're leaving it up to these idiots. Look at them. Just look at who we leaving. We don't have no influence on them. They have an influence on us. Look what they're doing. They are not even waiting. Why is balance so important? Look at the world today. The upper 40% of America is doing fine. It's the lower 60% that's not. The richer you are, the better you're doing. Right? I mean, Okay, that's imbalanced though. What always protected America, not always, but in recent years, was that big middle class. Or, if you don't like it back east, go west. Remember, they had the whole country out there. You could get a case back here, right? You could rob a bank. You could just get on your horse, and if you could get out of town, you could just keep riding out to west. Nobody knows who you are. You're who you say you are, right? So there's an escape valve. But when they start closing down the West, then all of those opportunities, you could go somewhere and get land and get all that stuff, free land. Okay. But our children, our grandchildren, we're leaving them in the hands of crackpots. The institutions we control, they're blaming everything on us. It's your fault. The murder rate is going up, and it's your fault. Not that you brought the drugs in here for us to kill each other. I haven't heard nobody say that. I'll be waiting. Why don't y'all let them know that, no, they letting them blame us. It's our fault. All of these people care. Nihad Awad, Abdul Malik, Najee just got his lawyer's papers. Some of our rich people in South Africa, we got to let them know. Well, they are. I don't know who else is watching this, but I know all of the police is watching it. That's for sure. And it don't make no difference. We're going to take these tapes or these, and we're going to reproduce them. We're going to check them, make sure something's on them. And even if we have to hire winos to pass them out, when we get ready, we already got years after years of stuff. We'll select 10 or 15 tapes out of all of what we have, and we'll run them off, and we'll get them out to the people. But what the people will understand is, number one, I never wanted to be like Posey. I just didn't want to do it. So if I'm not driving the white man's or the Arab stuff around, delivering it, it's because I don't like that job. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take that job. I would drive around and prepare food, do all that stuff anytime. But they can't pay me to do it. Okay. Here, we're going to clean up get a couple of more dumpsters and clean everything out downstairs and the different, whatever we have here. We're going to make this a command center. This right here will be our command and communication center, mainly downstairs. I'll start spending time in what was my office, and I'll be hanging out there. And this is going to be the command center. Going to put new tile, real tile, not that we'll take that stuff up, whatever that stuff is, plastic, and we'll put down real tile, and we'll fix up the place. Okay. But the presidency is a joke box. Donald Trump is at best is acting like Bozo the Clown. That's what he's acting on purpose. But the Negro Justice Team, that's our job. It's to overlook people's past behavior. Now, what does this mean? I have faith or I believe in you. In order to do something, I have always felt that it's going to be something different. And what are the things that are different? Number one is brothers don't love each other. That's for sure. You don't have to worry about that. And once they don't trust each other, they never trust each other again. Well, this is an open door trust policy. Number one, I know who they are already, and they know who I am. All we do is have our own job descriptions, and I want you to imagine the respect that we're going to gain from everybody for doing this. All the brothers that was lackeys and flunkies and disrespected, they ain't going to be like that. One thing, you look around at the people around here, they may not like me, but they definitely not going to disrespect me, because you can't do that. The government, nobody. No, you're not going to disrespect nobody. Now, that thing with Mukhtar and them, that was a regular assault. That was an assault. That was them trying to be accepted by this model of people. It's like they have a certain inferiority complex. Okay, you can look at Khadijah and see why she got one. You know, she's not the nicest looking physical person. Now, there's rules. You cannot be that beautiful physically, but how do you fix that up? With a wonderful personality. You can't fix it. You can get facials, you can get hairs, just blowouts. It ain't gonna work. Just make you look silly. But you can develop. Nobody can control your personality, your kindness, right? Okay. That's what she's gonna have. I'm gonna try to teach her that. I'm trying to teach her that. Why not? You gotta remember, that's my job. I have to do something different. We're not gonna do any of the standard, you know. I don't see raising some great army and going downtown and beating everybody up. I don't see that. I not only don't see it, I wouldn't do it, and I don't want to do it. So we want to fix the earth because the people who are doing what they do now is destroying it. And we want to give the Negro the opportunity to do that. The Negro on front page, not acting a clown, not with a red hat on or some blue shoes, right? The Negro seen as planning, organizing, discipline, not running off chasing, oh, here come a cutie pie, let me go get her, right? Hey, if you have to think about it in military terms, you remember the Tuskegee Airmen? Right, now all the white guys would go chasing after, as soon as they wanted to get big stars on their thing, right? And they told the Negro, we need people to stay with the heavies, man. We losing. So the guy told him, we'll cut your stuff in half. And they didn't cut it in half. They cut that boy down. But they stuck with their mission. The Germans say, okay, decoys go down there, and they go, the brothers would keep firing, right? Staying on mission. That's why they gained a lot of respect. They gained a lot of respect. I mean, they didn't get nothing for it, you know. And finally, after they was just about dead. One thing, though, just before you die, you about 95, all the brothers, now it's pitiful. But I think it was in the 90s, the mid-90s, they started helping them. If they was doing it in 45, and that was, good God Almighty, 45 years later, Well, they was in their 80s, all of them. There's a few left. But this Negro rescue mission, that's the type of job we have to do, except modern. We have to not go off chasing decoys, because we've been decoys. All the niggas has been decoys. We have to admit it. We just say, yeah, I've been a decoy. Sure, yeah. Okay. And see, this slavery threw us for a loop, because whatever road we got on after slavery, Reconstruction, they just got hold of that and diverted us. Then we want to prove ourselves. Well, in World War I, we did the proving. World War II, we did the proof. All to prove to our hater that we're worthy of. That's not what we're doing. Let's go around. We're not, this is not saying that the world needs leadership now, but it do, because everybody has been bought and sold. I want you to imagine the press. Here comes the Negro that had discipline, self-control. Man, if you talk about 95% of ability, is stickability, them Negroes stuck like glue. They didn't let no white girl, they didn't throw no white girls on. No, because when we get going, boss man gonna throw everything out the window. And we have to have a group of people that have matured. So if they're all old as me, that means they be least old enough where they may not go. But all of that is for a reason. The maturity, the discipline, and the concern for each other. There's a few things that the brothers will have to learn. And those are some of the things they have to learn. Concern for each other. That each other is safe from the other's fitna. He won't allow himself to be bought and sold. We won't allow boss man to have us fighting each other, because we'll be a solid unit. Like I say, 95% of ability is stickability. When we talk about writing books about our future, that's what we've written in it. That's what we're going to work on. Why? Because we got a choice. Can you imagine? We have a choice to do what we think is good for our own future. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. So we say to the Negro, hey, you can dislike me or act the fool, but I ain't going to do it with you. I'm sticking with your behind. Mr. Negro, I'm telling you, I'm sticking with your behind till you come around. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going to get mad. And it looked like ain't much the white man can do. He can give me a little misery here, a little misery there. But I may be around for them 25, another 30 years I'm talking about. Of course, I'm planning that this much workout, that much rest. That don't mean you're going to make it, but I'm sure going to give it a try. Hey, I'm giving this a try. And I believe that was the mission from the very beginning. Every time we tried to relax and tell the brothers, since we're human, like, you say, well, the brothers didn't mean it, they this and that. So we're going to get a little quiet about it. And as long as you do this, okay, government, you do 1, 2, 3, and that's not what it was meant to be. We was meant to archive, historicize, you know what I mean, to qualify all this stuff, to classify all of this stuff, and show it to people. That's what our job is. Our job is to show it to people. So they will all know too, hey, and you have to remember, this is not the 60s. This is 2020. America's in bad shape and everybody know it. It's crumbling. The system is crumbling. So we have to approach, or we're trying to approach our people so that they will see that they have a better opportunity. They have a chance to play the part they wanted to play. Everybody, if they had their own druthers, they would be a hero, right? Who would play the flunky like they know they flunkies? They know they flunkies. You can't say they don't know. They know they flunkies, and the people, after a while, are going to treat them like flunkies. And here he comes, the great, the consistent, the persistent, the greatest Imam of all times, Imam so-and-so. Come on up. Yes, it's so damn ridiculous. The people be making fun. They can't make fun of me. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you about it. You got to remember, we're in on this. Look, all the big stuff, we're in on this stuff. We're in on this. We're in on it, okay? We know we're in on it. And they ain't did nothing to us. We've domesticated them. We have everything we say. Sometimes I think they be listening and then they go do it to try to trick me. It's not a trick. I'm telling you, that means we got their number. You can't have nobody's number that good unless God gave it to you. Okay, so, all right. So, in this psychological guerrilla warfare type thing, we won that a long time ago. We won that a long time ago. But it wasn't clear what we would do with the victory. They was thinking we ought to do this, or they're going to do that. So they would try to protect themselves from things that they thought we was going to do. The only thing they didn't think we was going to do is this right here. They didn't think we was going to do it. And it don't make no difference what they think at this point. Okay. In Oakland, I think you saw that video of the last independent African-American Islamic center in the U.S. being invaded by immigrants, students. They don't go there anymore. They just was there for that time. We all have that on everything we talk about. We got it, paperwork, we got it on tape. Nobody can. What we're offering is in your own time, in your own space. Join a team that would be happy to have you. Won't make fun of you. Maybe a harassment, little Negro harassment that Negroes do each other. Your mama do this, that stuff. But nothing serious, you know. So history would say that we should make a big deal out of all of this. And we should be angry, disappointed, diverted, sad. We're not going to do none of that. It's just like going to the movie and watching the Justice League or somebody. That's the stuff we're talking about. That's what it's going to take. It takes that type of. Because look at the world. One thing about it, the world is in bad shape. If we don't want it to be like it is, we have to fix it. It's not gonna, when Allah gave it to us, as long as we were non-chemical, less mechanical, the earth would always fix itself. If you cut down a tree, another one would grow, and no matter what you built, you would build it out of brick or stone, and that would just crumble and go back into the earth, and there's no problem. And the tree would go back into the earth and become fertilizer. The air, no matter how dirty it got, would be brought up, condensed, brought up, changed from a liquid to a kind of gas, took up into the air, and then brought back down somewhere else as a liquid, snow. Do you know in Colorado it was 90-something degrees 3 days ago? And yesterday it was 20 degrees.
I heard about that. Yeah, like it was in the 90s.
No, it snowed. Well, for them it was good because they had all them fires.
Right, yeah.
Now they say that a little bit of snow is still hot under there, but usually if you get an inch of snow or something, that'll just about take care of the super fires. But look at it. That is unbelievable. That's 70 degrees or more. That's because things is out of balance. There's no greater mission than what we're talking about here. Project management, get job description, general meeting agenda, U.S. So we should have our own 1-year plan, like then 5-year, what we looking down the road. And then what we want to look like in 10 years, technically, we say 20 years to get it fixed up. But the whole idea is mizan, balance, justice, earth renewal. On voting, we have to help the immigrants learn. We don't want our share of the system. Okay, we don't want our share of murder, rape, wars.
That's been one of the recent kind of activities, things I've been sharing on your page when I put them on on like your story.
Right.
People would say, "Don't forget to vote." I'm like, I think at least obviously I don't know if they just messing with us, they not know our position. I just like.
Okay, now if they want to vote, they should vote. You see what I mean? No, if you're, here's something about our whole reality. If our brothers in Brooklyn, and New York, and Chicago, our brothers who are professors at the great university systems, if they don't know how the system works, then they shouldn't be in leadership. If they can't do what we do, if they can't do that 75% or something, if they can't anticipate the system, that means they don't know the system. If they don't know the history, that means you ain't never got no free ride. You have never gotten any justice from the system. Never. You just haven't got that. Okay. And everybody is out there getting their head busted. They ought to just go back, stick their head out and get it busted again. Because They done took all of that back and blamed it on the Negro. It's your fault. You know, that's ridiculous. Now you got to remember, our brothers have joined with the immigrants because the immigrants want their share. We came here, they got a whole different thing. We already know that America is unjust, but we will still get in the system. I mean, everybody, hey, they got no black sheriffs. They got in South Carolina, Mississippi, they everywhere. But they still killing the Negro, right? In bigger numbers than before. You know, when I was a kid, you could fight the police. I got knots from fighting, you know what I mean? Yeah, sucker. And they just beat you to death. They didn't kill you. They started killing the Negro big time after the Civil Rights Movement. All them SWAT teams, when they became militarized, all their training was militarized. All that stuff came after. All these goon squads and those SWAT teams, all that came in the 70s. That came after all the militarization. Before, a policeman was just a policeman. And you didn't have to, yes, sir, and no, sir, and he'd tell you, you'll sit down. I sit down, what you talking about, man? Bop, you know. In other words, the police were not more human, but they had, you know, something was going on. It wasn't this, where, oh, you got a gun, bam, they kill you. Right. Now imagine Mukhtar calling the police, or the police tell him to call them and tell them that I have guns.
Yeah, you might as well just put the hit out on you or something, you know, like you might as well have.
And he did it many times. Every time they would come, I had an interview with Officer Hernandez. He was taking an interview, Sergeant. He said, well, he told us you had guns. I said, how many damn times can he tell you that? Well, you're right. I said, I'm right. Now, what do y'all do? You know, I'm just, yeah.
It's supposed to be illegal. It's supposed to be criminal charges. You know.
Of course. I said, how can he can tell you, I own the place, my name is on it, all that. Right. He ain't got nothing. But he tell y'all that he got me put out. And this is a damn religious place anyway. What, you can tell somebody to get out and you can't stay there, or you can't, it don't make sense. But anyway, that's okay. Our heart and our mind go out to them. We understand why they did it. What we say is the same persistence you've been using and calling us. And right, all of that, you use it for your own people. Yeah.
That's something I get kind of stuck on sometimes. All that time, all those resources that, you know, them people spend, you could have, you know, you let the masjid just fall apart. You could have used that work ethic to uplift the community, but you just...
No. That they did what they were supposed to do. Remember, when I'd come out there, I'd have to turn on the water, the PG&E, stuff like that. It's no problem. Remember, we went through some discussions on anticipation. Yeah, this stuff that's happening in the last 20 and 30 years has been easy to anticipate. We just anticipate, and then we roll right along with it. They don't come up with nothing new. They don't have nothing new. Okay. All right. So, but now remember, if they don't do any historical review of voting, the value of voting, and if they don't do none of that, then they don't have a right to be in the positions that they're in. Because if you're going to be a leader, you have to have some power of anticipation because you're going to lead people somewhere. The people are going to go through the minefield of life. There's, this can blow up, that can blow up. You have to have some feeling of your environment, right? The economics of the environment. So people need advice. Hey man, what are we going to do about business? So you have some understanding of that. The social environment, all of those things you have to have be piped in a little bit. Okay. They're not piped in. They took a job, but I don't necessarily blame them, because maybe if they could have did better, they would have done better. You know, you look at everybody, they might have thought that this is my job to work for them, right? And for the system, it might be easy for some people to talk against the system, but everybody has seen what happens to people that go against the system. Okay. You know, about this unity and friendship, there was a guy in history called, I think, Temujin. Temujin later became Genghis Khan. And I think they killed his father or something like that. The tribal people, Mongolians, they were always just bands of people. They would raid the rich Chinamans and then come back, and then so the Chinamans would always keep them divided amongst themselves, and they'd give them a little something. The more you divide it and fight amongst yourself, that keep you from coming over here raiding us. Long story, this guy, Temujin, started doing some heavy thinking, and he put a little package together, and they started getting bigger and more organized and more developed. Pretty soon, it just happens at that period of time, that little stubby Mongolian horse, the bows that they used, all the stuff that they had was just right. And they came through, you know, they knocked over that Silk Route, all that, the parts of Afghanistan. They knocked over Iran. They got all the way to Baghdad. And they whooped the Muslims. They whooped them, the Muslims bad. But Genghis Khan conquered the Muslims, but he took Islam back to Mongolia. Islam conquered him. You see, we see all of this. America is in bad shape right now. You can see the poor white kids, the Negroes, they have some sporadic ideas, but they don't have a complete feel for what's going on. They don't. They need help. The world needs help now. My personal view is that we have matured long enough. If you remember, I was saying those ayats that we talked about, وَمَنَسَّنُوا قَوْلًا مِمَّا دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ, you know, to call people to Allah, work right, says I'm a Muslim, and return evil, good for evil, and that way between you and he that was enemies may become warm and fuzzy friends. Right? Okay. Those were ayats for evolution and incorporating into our being, not for implementation at that time. this way. See, because, you know, you teach yourself, you learn. Those are part of, we feel those. We really do. Okay, so we have been over it so many times that also opens up your vista for seeing possibilities. And also, it takes away discomfort or hatred. See, we'll feel comfortable cooperating with white folks as we will with Latinos and anybody else. It ain't, it's not abnormal. But that had to be part of our evolution. I think that Allah has allowed us to evolve now. So that's why we're saying what we're saying now. We thought it was for one reason or several reasons, but it seems like this is the reason for it. So recruit the Negro. It's right to earn the respect of history. When we say write your own future, you know, that means you put in there self-esteem, value. And when people do that, they begin to improve. I believe without the Negro, as we say here, we don't have a chance. I don't mean we don't have a chance, because you always got a chance with Allah. I believe Allah didn't put us in this condition, that we have to evolve to the level I'm talking about, because that's what Allah wants for the Negro. I believe Allah wants the Negro to shine for a while. Everybody get a time to shine in history. Not just sports running up and down and all that, but as managers and organizers. You notice that when you look at all these Negroes on TV, you don't see deep thinkers. You don't see heavy organized. You might see them glitzy, you know, and movie stuff and all, but you don't see them organizing, and you never saw it. They never showed in the blaxploitation days Negroes taking charge and managing their lives, right? Okay. Whatever boss man, anybody else did to us, it was always a help. Always a help. And then it just seems like that man's purpose in creation has been evolution anyway, to evolve from one stage to another, right? Well, I'll tell you, I mentioned Homo erectus technocratus before, right? Yeah, it's just a Homo erectus, he walks upright. Technocratus, he has technology, but he's a Neanderthal and everything. He's Neanderthal, boy, I'm telling you. Soon I'll talk about reparations, but I go off reparations as repair, not just repay. I'm not against it, but just thinking out loud, if the Negro got, say, $1 million each, the only thing I would like to have is a car dealership, fancy clothes dealership with bright colors and stupid stuff like that. And I would have mine right next door to the Negroes. Right? And I would have all their money. And that's what every Korean and everybody else, I hope they do get them niggas. $1 million, boy, you talking about fishing. Hey, man, you talking about they don't want nobody to have they want us to have reparations.
That's quite the stimulus package right there.
Hey, man, look at here, boy, they be so man's purpose, evolution, alternative lifestyle, historical behavior patterns. Okay, we'll deal with that as well. Historical behavior patterns. That is, anybody that wants to lead should be able to look back over the historical behavior patterns of their environment, and therefore, if you want to predict the future, go back to the past. Because behavior is habitual and it's repetitive, right? So we have to build up our confidence, possibility thinking. That's going to be a great day. I look forward to participating with the Negro on a brotherly basis in this great struggle. I think we can do it. In fact, I know we could do it. I think it's like everything else that they told us we couldn't do. I think we're still a gifted people. That's not from arrogance. I don't care what it was, baseball, basketball. Do you know it was a while they didn't let the NCCC, them college ball players?
Right, yeah, the HBCUs.
They didn't, but they didn't let the Negroes hardly play. They, 66 or something, the first time they won a basketball. And as soon as the Negroes got in there, they just rewrote the whole thing, right? Can you imagine they didn't let Negroes play baseball? I can see why. Tennis. Everything we get hold to, now they got the little Japanese, mixed Japanese with the little Haitian girl. Yeah. Just whooping everybody. She was just 15. Now I guess she's 16 or 17. But, we do the same thing politically. That's why they don't like us. Every one of them people overseas, when Dr. Siddiqui said, "This is a good nigga here, boy. This is the best nigga I ever seen. I don't even believe it. He's such a good nigga. He's a good," right? That's what he said. That's a translation, but that's what he said. Boy, this nigga is the essence, he said, of everything that's good. I said, damn, I didn't hear that. Right? And right then, that's when everybody packed up their suitcase. Dr. Siddiqui died. He said that. And 2 weeks later, he passed away. And so Muhammad Al-Asi and all of them, they heard it. Well, if that's what was happening, Zayd and them heard it. Zayd didn't hear it in person, but some of the people that was there, they distributed them tapes from over there. They know what was said. Okay, voting system. Okay. Domesticate the system. We done the historical analysis. We do that. We do that, but they got to do it too. With a historical analysis, you would know all of this stuff that we've been talking about today.
You say they?
They, the Negroes, the Negro leaders, Okay, that's our mission. They're our mission. Just like Joseph and his brothers. We're not going to go into all what you did, but just like Joseph, hey man, Allah got you covered. We don't have time to go over all of that. But we want them to participate. And we want them to feel like human beings. Nobody likes to see their brothers made sisters of and stuff like that. That's what they do. The other thing, this is our fall offensive. Now, in history, never do people attack in the fall or the winter. Only in the spring or summer, right? The spring offensive. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing, this is wonderful. All I can say is it's a trip. This is really a trip. And I'm enjoying it because we're taking what we view as the right road, and no hatred and no animosity. Okay. We must bend normality to our will. We must bend normality to our will. Now, under that, I have willpower and fortitude and tenacious. Our will is related directly to Allah's will, not the Negro's will. When we talked about willpower before, it's willpower, discipline, make yourself do this and make yourself do. There's a little bit of that in there. But when you submit to Allah, Allah makes all of that stuff not easy, but kind of easy. The same thing is these self-teaching. When I read any of our flyers, it tells, go forth whether equipped lightly or heavily. You know, stuff like that. So whether you're thick or thin or heavy or light, nimble or stiff, you know, got plenty of money, ain't got hardly none, go forth. And remember, look at all our people. Iranians, the real Iranians, they got it tough right now. The Yemenis, they got it tough. Hezbollah and them, they got it tough. So we would actually be crybabies over here sitting there, you know, with what we got. It's not probably, we could see, it's not that bad. You know, we're inside of America, so we're easy to get. You know, but we're turning that into our benefit. That's the thing. Everything will be changed to our benefit. Are there any questions or any comments about anything that was said? Yes.
As well about like, you know, plans and going forward. Like, you know, there's it's like sometimes when I think about, you know, us getting organized and the brothers meeting up and stuff, I'm like, man, we kind of late on this, you know. And so I'm kind of like, well, you know, prioritization. You know,
Priority, yeah.
Priorities. Like what comes, there's so, like as far as there's so many problems out there, you know, in the world, like, and we got limited resources. Like,
Sure.
What should we?
Well, no. The first thing we're talking about doing is just this is central headquarters right here. It's all simple. Priority number one, chip up the stuff, the tile down there, do our office, get a dumpster, throw everything down their way. The other thing is our property next door. All right, our property next door. That's all on the same page. That's why we talk about job description, and this will be our priorities. We finish up over there. I'll be doing half of it myself, painting, turning on the water, or the water's already on. Doing those are the things. See, the physical structure is what we have to get together right now. Why? Because that's what we can do.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that. Nobody can stop us from doing that. So that means when it means organized, that means this is GHQ. Downstairs is general headquarters. Along with that, we may get an electrician to put a big something or other back there. Why? So we can use that machine down there. We got a machine, several $1,000 machine right down there.
Oh, downstairs in
Yeah, the copier machine.
Oh, right, yeah, that machine, yeah. All right.
That machine, man, it staples, it does everything.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
that was also like, so, yeah, that's prior organization, so we got, focused on that. And then after that, like, from your experience with management, like, what are your kind of, your tells for when you're spreading your workforce too thin? Like,
Okay. Oh, well, right now, this is a white man's rule. It's whatever you got something doing, when they start complaining, add another 25%. They say something like,
I see, I hadn't heard it. But,
yeah, but okay, but we like, okay, here we are right here. Let's say it's a few of us. All we do is start putting new tile downstairs, clean the stuff out, clean everything out over there, put it in dumpsters, 1 dumpster, 3 dumpsters, whatever it takes, and we just do those things. We do those things. Then that means we'll put 1 or 2 computers down there, right? We already got the wire that would hold for classrooms. We do those things, and pretty soon, office management come in. We'll have someone sooner or later that will be here all day. This will be the hub. This will be the heart of our movement for now. This is right now. Technically, that's what it is. And remember, sometimes people want to see certain things, well, measurable things. Do you know our survival is the biggest measuring stick you can have. It ain't nobody. Just not all of our survival. Is there anybody that's dealt with 5% of what we've been? 5% of what you know, not 5% of what I know. Just, hey man, it's so. I know that historically, it's a gifted movement. Okay.
I know, like, growing up, my community, my parents and the other brothers and sisters were active, and, some of the patterns that I saw going on here with you and at this community at large, would cause, or had caused in the past, other brothers and sisters say, oh, I give up, forget the Negroes.
Oh, definitely.
They just back up and just say,
Yeah.
I'm not going to help those people anymore.
Yeah, that's common.
Yeah, I can actually,
Okay.
I've seen that. I've seen
Of
that.
course, it is common. You would have to have seen it. Why? Because the Imam Wartadin, Muhammad's community, was the strongest. They had leadership. We used to say, oh, that brother ain't following the chief, or he following, that means he out of line. So, but what it meant was he had authority. Okay, he himself didn't feel the authority because he was surrounded by Negroes. All leaders will be surrounded by Negroes. Imam Wartadin Muhammad did a good job for what he was involved in at his time, but he was kind of a systems man. He, religion on the line in 78 and cooperating with boss man. He kind of, that's the flag on the newspaper and stuff. Okay, he ain't bad because of that, but you got to remember, he came up in the Nation of Islam. When he took over them Negroes in Chicago, was slapping the believers upside the head with a wad of $100 bills. His brother was down there in Kansas City dealing dope. Yeah. All of that stuff, you got to remember. And the nation that was built, we helped build that, like we gave to everybody here and there too, but we helped build the nation. I was in prison at McNeil Island with the whole West Coast crew. We helped build those because we had the money and we believed in the ideology. So it wasn't a day-to-day believer running around selling them newspapers. It was the gangster niggas. This Nation Time. Okay. Now imagine when Elijah Muhammad died. The Lamb wasn't the nicest guy in town, no way, but still, they went crazy, man. So, take any city, I can close my eyes. DC, masjid over here, masjid over there, masjid downtown, all of them following the chief. 2 or 3, each masjid, in each city, separated. Did you notice that where you was?
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It's like that. I saw it down in, I started to pick up on things, even before coming here, you started picking up on things, or I did, down in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I saw the same thing there, remember Muhammad communities down there. Same thing.
No, that's the same. That's what divide, conquer, and rule.
Right.
Boss man divided up his community. Imam Warathuddin Muhammad, I had big packages for Imam Muhammad. I said, some of the foreigners, when you see us together in Iran, years ago they gave me a package. They said, you could deliver this to Imam Muhammad and just ask him, does he want a state visit or a personal visit? A state visit would be all the fanfare and all that. Another would be, so I remember in Ohio, we went to Ohio, chief was going to speak, and I guess it was Dayton. We went down to the program. I used to sell a lot of books. That book room up there, full of books, yeah. So I gave the package, I could mention the imam's name. They want to know da-da-da-da-da. I take it to them, I could find out da-da-da-da. Later on, they got in the car and they just gave it back to me and said something or other and drove on off. In other words, the people around Imam Muhammad, they was all police. And he said it because he turned around. It happened once in the 80s and it happened recently. The main guys, Fahim Shuaib, is that still on?
Yeah, it's still on.
Okay, we can turn that off, yeah. Yeah.